Hello guys, this is Sapphire Yagami, and I'm going to be, this is the review for Sleepy Hollow, episode 2, titled Blood Moon. So right, the episode starts off with Ichabod being chased by the horsemen, and not only the headless horseman, but three other horsemen as well. So then as he's, running from them, he gets entangled in the, thorns, and then he ends up falling down a hole where he sees his wife Katrina. She warns him about an army evil will arrive and a spirit shall awaken upon the blood moon. Ichabod then awakens and he needs to, tell, Lieutenant Mills, Abby Mills, about, what his wife has told him. And at this time frame, he's in his apartment. He's not allowed to leave because, they pretty much say he's crazy. A man talking about he was doing the time of, yeah, you're crazy. So Abby has left post-its on, various items around the apartment. So, because, he's during the time George Washington, they have showers yet, they have coffee makers, so they have hair dryers. So she put, little, so they show him watching, like, what are you watching? He was watching Rise of the Planet of the Apes with the monkey riding on a thing. He's just in shocked amazement. I'm not sure because of the TV or the fact that there's a monkey and a horse. I'm not really sure which part of he was really amazed at. But, he's discovering, the technologies and whatnot of this century. We didn't have Abby and her captain discussing the previous events. The two officers from last episode that saw the horsemen, they pretty much say they didn't see any horsemen. Because think about it, if you're a cop on duty and you see some dude with no head, would you really want to tell other people that you saw a headless man walking around? No, they'll think you crazy. So pretty much everybody that has encountered, the horsemen pretty much lied, said they didn't see nothing. And then we have Abby bring up Andy and say, well, what about Andy when we got there? His name was Pale Bags. So then, about his, snapped his neck like a twig. Ow, the head hurt. So then the captain shows her a video, and apparently it's Andy running into the mirror and snapping his head back. Now, I'm not, a professional, but I'm pretty sure that if you were to run into a wall or a mirror, your head would not just snap back all the way like that to your spine. I doubt that would happen. I'm just saying. So obviously somebody or something tampered with the video to make it look like it was suicide. So when Abby finally arrives to the apartment, she talks to Ichabod and discuss, what he saw. And Abby, of course, she's still in doubt, even though after everything she has seen so far, she's still in doubt. Then we then scan over to the morgue where we see Andy's body in the morgue in the body bag, and he awakens up and he's like, oh, he trips out because he's like his head is like way in the back. He's like, oh my god, what happened? And we see this freaking demon thing again, and it snaps his head back, and his neck is just like, it's just like, you kind of like the pretty much the skin is like off the bone. You could just see it like. And my mom was like, okay, this is way too much for me. This is way too much. This is way too much for me. And then a demon is constantly telling him something in some unknown language that we do not know. And Andy apparently understands every single word he's saying. And then he reaches in the mouth and he pulls out this like amulet. And he says, apparently he is told to unlock something. We did have Abby attend the funeral for the sheriff who, passed away. Gotta say it chopped off. And we have Ichabod visit his wife's tombstone. We then see Andy at this site, and he places the necklace upon this stone, and it pretty much awakens this woman who looks like she got burnt up real bad. And then from there we go over to Andy again, who is as a police officer, he stops this a man, and the man's like, officer, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Or did I speed or pastava? You questions you ask the officer. And the man, and Andy asks his name. The man gives him the name. It's Jeremy. I cannot remember the last name, but it begins with an H. And he says, I'm sorry it had to be you. And the dude's like, wait, what? What is he talking about? So Andy then drives off. The man goes to start his car. It doesn't start. Now you in the middle of the, I'm guessing like a road. You're in the middle of the road. It's dark. It's misty. Your car don't start. I would have freaked out. I would have got my cell phone, called somebody. I'm calling somebody. And then his radio starts to act funny. It starts, flipping over random stations. The song starts to playing. You know how it does in creepy horror movies and stuff. So the woman that we saw Andy awaken earlier, she jumps onto the front of his car and then ignites the inside, like burns the man alive. I'm like, that got to suck. Um, Ichabod and Abby still going back and forth about her trying to get her to believe and everything and whatnot. Uh, and he realized that she still needs time to mourn the sheriff's death, and he ends up realizing that he pretty much was a father figure to her. So she ends up getting a call from the dispatch about this crime scene. So they arrive there and they try to figure out how this happened because it's just the inside of the car that got you know that caught on fire. Nothing on the outside, just the inside. So they're like, okay, this is kind of weird. How does the inside of your car get on fire? It's kind of weird. So Ichabod goes to examine his body, and he knows that the remains have been sort of disturbed, like somebody pulled something from him. So we then go to a flashback moment of Ichabod, and he talks about his regime. His regime had just returned to camp, and when it got there, the whole camp was burned down, and they realized that it was a high priestess of this evil coven who has done it, and he had took remains of various soldiers. So then they Abby decided, okay, we have to go look at the certain sheriff's files and figure out what's going on. So they get to the office, everything has been taken already. It's cleared out, and Abby's like, snap. So then, as Abby goes to figure out where the documents could have gone, we then see this other officer named Luke who starts to question Ichabod, like, "Oh, you're the guy who da da da," and they have like this awkward situation. You kind of like two guys in a show having, but like they stand up, just answer each other questions, like what you teach. Oh, I teach history. Da da da. Civil War. Oh, really? You have this little question. So Abby gets back and she's like, questioning, and Ichabod noticed that he's pretty much reading their body language, and to discover that well, the way Ichabod says it, oh, you two was once betrothed. I remember he was during the time of George Washington. You didn't have boyfriend and girlfriend back then. You was either you had courting and you got married. That's about it. That's as far as you went. Okay, there was no, oh, I'm dating him for a while, then you break up and you move on to somebody else. No. So he was her ex. Okay. So then Ichabod then goes down. I think they go to the bottom of the police department, police station, and Ichabod is trying to find something, but apparently whatever he's trying to find has been bricked up. So he takes this, I think it was a pickaxe, and breaks down the wall to show her this tunnel, which was used during the Revolutionary War to pretty much hide ammunition, smuggle ammunition across, various tunnels, get it to the troops. Queenie, get down! Sorry about that's my cat. And they find that there's still some gunpowder that's in there, and Abby's like, does it still work? And he's like, about let's probably not, test his fate, because I'm pretty sure gunpowder don't have an expiration date. You light it up, you dead. Anyway, they find this tunnel leads to this ladder, which goes up to this office where all these documents are had, from documents from police crimes to history about the town and stuff like that. So they find the files, start reading them. He reads about this. It's in a language. What language was it? I think he said Greek or Romanian Gypsy. I think it was Romanian Gypsy. I think it was. He said he spoke a different language. So he reads from the Passion, and it talks about this woman who was an evil high priestess. Um, she was weakened by this good coven, and once she was weakened, she got easily caught by the townspeople, and she as they was getting ready, they put you on the stage to tie you up. So she starts screaming in her language, and she pretty much places a curse on the magistrate, talking about, I will be back on the blood moon, and I will rise again with the ashes of your descendants, and then they burn her alive. I'm like, oh dang. My thing is though, with situations like this, especially when it terms to a witch, why would you even let her talk? Don't just burn her straight away, because now she done placed a curse upon your descendants, you stupid idiot. Why would you? Same thing in the movie Hocus Pocus. instead of just automatically just hang those three Sanderson sisters, what they did, they let the oldest read from the book saying all house weave a virgin would light the candle and I should be back and I'm gonna kill all your kids. Really? Why would you even let her give her time to even put a curse upon you? You stupid idiot! Just burn her already. Just burn her. Why would you even give her time to put a curse on you? You stupid. Oh my god. Certain things like that just annoy me in horror movies and thrillers and whatnot. It just annoys me. You giving them time to place a curse upon you, you stupid idiot. So as Ichabod finished reading from the passage, Abby realizes that the first victim they saw, his last name was, I think it's Timothy. I think I got it right. Realized that the magistrate last name is Henry, so they decide to go, to genealogy and look for the remaining descendants. We then see Andy again. He ends up stopping the soccer ball, which was played by these two boys, and the little boy comes up to Andy and try to get the soccer ball back. So Andy asks for his name. The boy says his name is Kyle Hibison, and he says, "I'm sorry, it had to be you." I'm like, "Oh no, not the baby, not the baby, not the baby." So then we then scan back to the little boy who he was getting scared by his cat that just jumped on the bed. Cats kind of do that. Then he goes to look for his mom. His mom's on the bed. So he goes downstairs and the door is open. Behind him we see the spirit of the evil high priestess. The mom, in the tub relaxing. Then she hears the son scream and she runs downstairs. Sees him in the corner hiding. And the spirit takes off and we have Abby and Ichabod come inside. So Ichabod, looks around and he notices that something is missing, and he asks the woman what was missing. She said, "That's my husband Ashes." So we realize that the child is not actually a descendant. He's adopted, but the last descendant was her husband, who was already cremated. So they then go back to the tunnel because they figure out that because in the tunnel there's also the bones of witches who were buried because they don't give them actual tombstones. So they're witches. They're considered evil. They don't deserve a grave. This is just cruel, really. So we see Andy digging up the woman's bones, and we have Ichabod. They search through the tunnel. They decide to split up. Why do you want to split up? I'm just saying, it's an evil witch. Do we really want to split up in a dark, creepy tunnel? I'm just saying. I thought that was kind of stupid. So then we see the spirit of the priestess. She begins her ritual to bring herself back to life. She lays her bones out and she places herself upon the bones, and they kind of pretty much merge into her, which I'm pretty sure is a painful process. Your bones coming back into your body, that's gotta hurt. So Ichabod gets there and he sees that she has revived. He shoots one gun and then drops it. Abby comes in like, "Oh my god, what the hell? Oh my god!" And she picks up the gun and she's like, "You, why did you drop your gun? You have more bullets." He's like, "Really?" Because back then, guns were different than we have. You could probably put like 10 bullets in one gun compared to them. You had one bullet, shot it, you gotta reload, put the powder back in. It's a lot more work back with a gun back then. So Ichabod decides that we gotta kill her again, so that we pretty much gotta burn her again, make sure she dies permanently. To keep her from wreaking havoc and whatnot. So they go to the gunpowder and he starts setting it up. He tells Abby to take cover. So as the evil high priestess is slowly doing like the creepy classic horror movie villain type thing where they walking slowly to the victim and they have to have a whole effing monologue. So she's talking about his wife Katrina, saying that she is trapped in a world between worlds. So she's neither in the she's not in heaven and she or hell, and she's not in our world. She's stuck in between. I guess you would say limbo, but I don't think limbo has demons in it. So Ichabod throws the torch he has in his hand. As soon as Katrina gets on top of not Katrina, the evil priestess gets on top of the gunpowder boxes, and all of a sudden it like takes a minute for it to ignite because they thought, "Oh crap, it must be wet or something." Then it lights up, and the evil priestess screams and she gets blown back. She gets burnt alive again. I mean, you just got your body back and you get burnt up again. I'm like, dang, you didn't have a good time to enjoy, your new body. I'm just saying. You didn't even get a time to enjoy all of it. So we then have Abby go back to the sheriff's office and she sees him and she's like, okay, please, am I dreaming? He's like, maybe. So apparently it's either she's dreaming or she pretty much sees his ghost and she starts questioning him like, why you never told me and stuff like that and whatnot. And he's like, would you have believed me? And he says, you always have run away from it and you let fear pretty much keep you back. You can't let fear keep you back. And he tells her not to be afraid of number 49. So she turns around and sees Ichabod and like, are you ready to go? She turns back around again. The office is empty. We then go over to the asylum and we see this patient who's exercising kind of like in the movie Terminator 2, where your girl was Miss Khan was like exercising, strengthening it up, doing push-ups and stuff. Like she was getting it in, getting her workout on. We see that is Jennifer Mills, Abby's sister. Um, the nurse tells her to take her meds. They do the whole check thing to make sure they take it. Obviously, she didn't take it because she spits it back out and crushes it. And she goes and looks at the newspaper clipping up about the incident with her and her sister, and they was in the woods. And she goes back to get her workout on. She getting pumped. And then something like flashes behind her, and she turns around and like it's like something else. What's up in this room with me? Hold up. People may think I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. Something's up in this room. And then the show goes off. So that was pretty much the entire review of episode 2 of Sleepy Hollow. It's titled Blood Moon. Next week's episode apparently we'll be dealing with the Sandman. I'm like, I thought the Sandman was nice, he bring you sweet dreams. Isn't that what the song's saying? Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. I thought, the Sandman was good, cool cat, but apparently he is not apparently in this show, unless given what I have learned so far about when it comes to supernatural creatures is that America we kind of I'm trying to find a word, we turn them good, we kind of distort their history and make them into something marketable, acceptable to society, something like that. So episode 2 gonna be dealing that's episode 2. Episode 3 is gonna be dealing with the Sandman apparently, so that's gonna be good. This season, this series overall, with only just 2 episodes, it is a great series, and I'm glad we have good actual TV shows on TV right now. Because almost every channel you could possibly imagine is dominated by a freaking reality show. I'm like, whatever happened to good writing? People want that. People want shows with good plots, good writing, good characters you can fall in love with, not freaking Hodashians and basketball players and oh my god, I want this dress. Oh my god, I fell in love with him. Oh my god, I bet she saw my man. We don't want that. If I want to see that type of drama, I go back to high school, okay? Because that's just high school childish shit, okay? Excuse my cursing, but that's what it is. But overall, this episode was a really good episode. Can't wait for episode 3. And tonight is the Shield. Woohoo! We're gonna have some Marvel things, and I kind of hope they kind of lead up to Avengers too, because we already had 3 Iron Mans. We got the second Thor coming out in November. We have another Captain America sequel. Then we're gonna have the second Avengers coming in 2014. It's gonna be good. So I want you guys to comment, rate, subscribe on what you thought about tonight's episode, and I will see you guys next Monday.